Okay, we're good.
Okay, good morning. I would like to call this special board meeting on Friday, March 19th, 2021 at 8:35 a.m. Ms. Verakin, role of the board and mission.
Role of the board, we are entrusted to care for the current school and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. The mission of Clever Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, and produce successful citizens.
Thank you. Has everyone received the agenda for this morning? Has everyone had a chance to review? Do I have a motion to approve this morning's agenda? Mr. Brooks, second. Ms. Saunders, all in favor? Ms. Saunders, Ms. Lane, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Huffines, Mr. Hackney, and Ms. Foster.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Verakin, first item of business is old business. We've got reopening plan updates.
Yes, ma'am. Give me just a second. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right, guys. Let me know if you can see that.
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. Okay. I'm trying to make my screen a little bit bigger on this so I can still see everybody. Okay. So basically, we've been on a roller coaster ride with COVID for the past year. And just this past week, there have been a lot of updates and changes. So these are some updates and changes that we did share with our families, just to kind of give them an update. It's moved. There's some legislative updates and some State Board of Education updates that now apply to charter schools that did not apply before. So last Thursday, the Governor Cooper signed Senate Bill 220 into law. It's a reopening schools, well, I'll speak to it here, but it's a reopening schools bill that became law that did not apply to charter schools. And so on Sunday's message last week, I said, hey, we're still going to roll on with our plans and our schedules. However, on Monday, the State Board of Education did some voting and changed some things as well. So now it's been a very up and down week, especially for charter schools. So just to kind of give you guys an update. So this is kind of just an overview. So on Monday, this past week, the State Board of Education met in a called meeting to discuss several issues, among which was amended guidance for charter schools on reopening. Charter schools were not included in Senate Bill 220, which is the Reopen Our Schools Act of 2021. The State Board of Education voted unanimously to amend guidance for reopening K-12 schools in lighting our way forward guidance from DPI. This affects charter schools in that they are required by Session Law 2020-49 to follow the provisions of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services Strong Schools Toolkit, dated March 4th, 2021, in regards to educating students in grades 6 through 12, meaning that they are allowed to operate under Plan B. Parents of students in grades 6 through 12 must still be given the option of in-person, or they must be given the option of in-person instruction no later than April 1st of 2021. And as of now, currently, Plan A is not an option for grades 6 through 12 charter schools. So a big piece is this next part, full remote learning, which is Plan C, which is what the Clever Garden School is currently in for our middle school and high school kids, is no longer an option for charter schools, unless and only if full remote instruction is needed to ensure the health and safety of students in a particular school or district. So as provided in the Strong Schools North Carolina Toolkit, grades K through 5 will now operate in Plan A. So basically, just kind of a summary of this, we had the autonomy. They left us out of the bill so that charter schools could kind of have some flexibility. Within the State Board of Education voted and said, no, you've got to go by the Strong Schools Toolkit. And based on that guidance, you have to open in at least a Plan B. Plan C still has to be an option for families or for children that are high risk, things like that. But we cannot use that as our school-wide daily instruction anymore. So we have to make some changes, and it's a pretty quick turnaround. So that has caused a lot of discord amongst charter schools, because right now we don't have an option A and we don't have an option C. We only have an option B for middle school and high school. And so right now there are a lot of folks right now working with legislation. So on Wednesday this past week, they have introduced House Bill 324, which would give us the opportunity to run in a Plan A for middle school and high school. And just based on our previous meetings, like I said, we can do Plan B, and we've got a plan in place to operate that. But if we have the choice and we can operate in a Plan A, that would be more feasible resource-wise for our school. So, so those are things that are kind of sitting out there. They have tried to, the State Board of Education can only do so much in regards to governing charter schools, and so that's why they're asking for a legislative fix. So we do not know how long this will take. I could shoot you all an email this evening and say, hey, they passed. But you know, that bill moved really quickly last week through the House, the Senate, and to the governor. So we're hoping that we will get the same type of you know, quick response, just so that we have equity and have opportunities that the public schools have as well, the traditional public schools. So right now we don't have those options, but they are working very hard to try to make that an option for us. So kind of what does this mean in a quick summary? I did put 2 links in this, guys, and I will share this with you. This link right here will take you to that Strong Schools Toolkit guidance. That is what we are governed by, that we have to abide by. And then this is where they updated the guidance in the document from DPI. So again, those are the ones that, you know, we have to adhere to. So basically, just like I said, we had a state call yesterday, and things changed. I think they've changed Monday, and then it changed on Wednesday, and then it changed yesterday. And so I just am very appreciative of our teachers and our families for just being patient and flexible this year, because it has just been different, just constantly. So anyway, so based on what this means for us, so we will have to offer remote instruction, as you said, as you saw, by April 1st. Well, we're on spring break that week, so ours will actually start that following week on April 6th. So this is kind of a general overview of how we're going to meet this the legislation and make sure that we are following and in compliance and following the rules and guidance that we have to as a charter school. So we're going to implement in-person instruction for middle and high school students. This will be following the completion of our scheduled spring break vacation. So it will begin on Tuesday, April 6th, 2021. And right now we are going to be in a Plan B, requirements and restrictions. So if you go to Strong Schools Toolkit guidance, you'll see that the big piece of Plan B is that 6 feet of social distancing. That is a requirement. So right now we have a plan that we are working out with our academic committee and our leadership team, and then I meet with health and wellness today. Like, we're all putting our heads together to make it work as safely as we possibly can here at Clever Garden. So we do have a Plan B in place. However, I would like to ask that if the current legislation that is presented in this House Bill 324, if they do pass it and they allow charter schools to reopen in Plan A, then we would like to opt in for Plan A for our middle school and high school kids. So that will, again, we are working on that right now. That would look like at least four full days of instruction. And I'll talk a little bit to that. So what that would look like on Tuesday, April 6th. We also have to do, so right now our elementary is on half days. They made a change yesterday that those have to be full days. So we are going to make a change to those school days as well for our K-5 kids. That is different. Again, like I said, that just changed yesterday. So they will now be here from 8 to 2:30. We're working on like a staggered arrival and a dismissal so that we don't have so many kids in the hallways and things like that at the same time. But they would be here at least 4 full days from 8 until 2:30 for K-5 in Plan A. And then our kids that are in middle school and high school, depending on the plan, it would it'll be 4 days, but if they're in Plan B, they would be here 2 days a week. If they're in Plan A, they'd be here 4 days a week. We have built in Wednesdays as our remote day because we still have a slew of families that are opting to stay remote. So we have been really, really good about being as equitable as possible this whole time. We don't want that to slide with, you know, kids being here full time. We want to make sure teachers have enough time to meet with those remote kids and give them feedback, because there's not a lot of time left when kids are here for a full day. There's not a lot of time left to do anything else. So we do want that to be kind of our schedule of what we're working on. Another thing that we're trying to make sure is that last little paragraph down here at the bottom, that students who are participating in remote or in person will continue following the same schedule they've been used to following since July. So when we open, you know, we worked very hard on the A-Day, B-Day schedule. We have finally got our kids memorized. They know what they're supposed to be working on each day. So they will still follow that same schedule. So that's a big piece of it. So it'll be, like I said, a 4-day rotation. Like I said, if it's a plan A, the kids will be here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. If it's a plan B, there will be a group that will be here on Monday and Tuesday and a group that'll be here on Thursday and Friday. So those are kind of like a general overview. There's a lot of logistical pieces, just truth and transparency, that we're working out right now. We've got everybody's heads together, that we are trying to make this as a smooth transition as possible for our kids, for our parents, and for our teachers. So it's a pretty daunting task to switch it up again, but they're gonna make it happen because that's what they do, and CGS has the best. So they are working really hard on that. So more details will be coming from this. I didn't want to share too much today because we're still ironing out kinks and making sure those logistics will work. So our families will start getting additional information. You know, I'll give them another blurb today, but they'll get more information next week. And then we'll start surveying our families to see how many kids are still going to stay remote versus how many kids are going to come in. And that way we can kind of give them a little guidance. So we're kind of in a wait and see. So if legislation doesn't pass, we'll be ready to go for Plan B next week. Our teachers are preparing their classrooms to make sure they are ready to adhere to that 6 feet social distancing rule. But we're kind of just watching and waiting to see about the legislative update. So I will keep you guys in the loop of that as any changes are made. But I have a webinar right after this call today, you know, that has to do with reopening. So we are just trying to stay in front of all the information that we can. So yes, so shout out to our teachers for their resiliency, for throwing their plans out and starting all over again. And shout out to our families who have made, we only got to do blended enrichment for 1 week, but they made 4 dismissal. I mean, 4 car rider lines this week they have run. So shout out to our families for being flexible and working out daycares and child cares and transportation so that they could get their kids here. So shout out to them as well. With this plan, we will be discontinuing the blended enrichment. I know they worked incredibly hard on that, and I hate to drop that, but now the kids will be here all day long, so they'll be getting more face-to-face instruction. And we will be dropping focus groups because they will now be in the building with us. So those are 2 things that are going to change. And I will be canceling blended enrichment and focus groups next week so that our middle school, high school teachers can prepare for reopening on the 6th. So yeah, so that is that in a nutshell.
Great, thank you, Ms. Verraken. And I would just like to echo and thank the teachers, staff, and the families, the parents, students for being nimble and agile and just kind of moving with the flow of things and how things are changing, and appreciate the parents' patience through the consistent changes and everything. So I think the board would really like to express our appreciation as well. Any questions at this time in regards to what Mrs. Verraken has presented?
I've got a quick question, Ms. Verraken. If usually we have open houses, and those open houses are chances for teachers to get a ton of supplies that they need throughout the school year, that are provided by parents that bring in wipes, sanitary items and stuff like that. And they don't have that opportunity this year. Do the teachers need any help with supplies that they might need for reopening?
Quite possibly. I appreciate you offering that. I'm going to add that to my list of items, but yes, especially those that are in middle school and high school for sure. So absolutely, I will write that down, Mr. Brooks. Thank you for that thought.
Reagan, what about the buses and lunches? Are those still on hold for now?
So as of right now, yes. As of right now, we don't plan on operating with transportation or running our cafeteria in a traditional stance. Now, I have a meeting with Health and Wellness this afternoon. We're going to revisit that again. But with our kids being here a whole day, they will have to bring their own lunch. But lunch is a little different now. They won't be eating in a cafeteria. They'll be eating in their classrooms and bringing their own lunch. Now, cafeteria, like how it's running right now, she has like extras just in case like someone forgot their lunch. Like she's got like bag lunch stuff, but as in catering vendors and stuff like that, we don't plan to do that this year.
Mr. Rakin, so
Yes, sir.
on that note that Mr. Brooks talked about open house. So as we know, our students didn't really they don't really know where their classroom is going to be. So is there what kind of plan is going to be in place for like a sort of kind of open house for those students?
That's a great question. So I'm adding that to our list too. We do have back in, it might have been January or December, we did like a virtual tour too. And so there's an opportunity out there that we can use that too. Like before you get here, let's show you where you're going, where your classrooms are, those kind of things. And then all of the teachers did online, like virtual stuff in Canvas. Like, here's my classroom, here are the expectations. So what we can do to work smarter, not harder, is pull up those open house videos that they created, because I know our teachers had, hey, if we're here, and this is my expectations if we're here, here's my expectations if we're virtual. So yes, we can definitely check back in and maybe revisit those videos so they don't have to recreate, but also be able to kind of update and change, because like I said, they kind of did it both ways in the beginning. So no, that's a great idea. I will write that down on here to update those.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We're going to have to get to know children again. The kids that wear their masks and their hoods, I'm like, who are you? They've grown.
Yeah, you only see this much.
So they might be getting name tags on the first day. Okay. Good thoughts.
Any other questions? So I would like to propose that we have two motions. One, to approve the Plan B plan that will start on April 6th. However, I would also like to have a motion to, in the event that the 324 gets approved, that Ms. Verray can move forward with getting Plan A ready as well. So I would like to make two motions. So I'll do those two motions, and then just need you to vote on those. So the first motion will be that Mrs. Verakin and the organization move forward with the Plan B opening on April 6th for the remainder of the 2021 school year. Do I have a motion to Mr. Huffines? Second, Mr. Brooks. All in favor? Ms. Saunders,
Yes.
Ms. Lane, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Huffines, Mr. Hackney, and Ms. Foster. Do I have a motion to approve Plan A if legislation 324 is approved for them to move into a Plan A? Ms. Lane, motion. Second, Mr. Brooks. All in favor? Mr. Huffines,
Yes.
Ms. Lane, Ms. Saunders, Mr. Brooks, Ms. Foster, Mr. Hackney. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Verakin. I appreciate it. Again, extend our appreciation to the staff and organization.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so I also want to extend my appreciation to the board. Over the past week, we knew we had several policies that we needed to get approved in a quick manner for Ms. Simmons and the organization. So I'm going to have the three policies, three different motions, and then we will vote on each of those. I appreciate your diligence working through those, getting the suggestions, and working with Ms. Simmons to get those final final policies together. Everyone has received those policies from Ms. Simmons and had a chance to review them, correct?
Yes.
Were there any questions before we do the motions? Anyone had any questions or issues with what was presented and put together? Okay. The first policy is need a motion to approve the proposed one-on-one policy reviewed by the board members. Mr. Brooks? Second? Mr. Huffines? All in favor?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks, Ms. Foster, Ms. Saunders, Ms. Lane, Mr. Hackney, thank you. The second policy is the media policy, social media policy. Do I have a motion to approve the updated social media policy reviewed by the board? Mr. Huffines, second. Mr. Brooks, all in favor?
Yes.
Ms. Saunders, Ms. Foster, Ms. Lane, Mr. Huffines, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Hackney, thank you. And then the final policy we have to approve is the updated cell phone and personal device policy reviewed by the board. Do I have a motion to approve this policy? Ms. Lane, Mr. Brooks, second. All in favor?
Yes.
Ms. Saunders, Ms. Foster, Ms. Lane, Mr. Huffines, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Hackney, thank you. And Ms. Jackson, I will forward you those motions and information. Do we have any other items for discussion this morning?
No, ma'am.
That's it. Okay. I want to thank everybody again for their time and engagement this past week with the policies and with the continued changes. Our organization is stepping up and making sure we are meeting those changes as required. Ms. Verakin, good luck to you and the staff. Hopefully everything works out. If you do need anything from us, please let us know. We'll be happy to step in. Again, in regards to Mr. Brooks, if you need supplies, if you need things that are immediate needs versus, within the next couple of weeks, if you can prioritize anything like that and let us know, that would be great.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other items, I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting. Mr. Brooks, second. Ms. Lane, all in favor?
Yes.
Ms. Saunders, Ms. Lane, Ms. Foster, Mr. Huffines, Mr. Brooks, Mr. Hackney, thank you. At 8:58 on March 19th, 2021, we'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone. Have a great Friday and weekend.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good luck, Mrs. Brake.